What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam, I hope you guys are doing phenomenal today, man. I hope you guys have all had a great Friday. Hope you guys are ready for a great weekend, and most importantly, I hope you guys are ready for another live 2023 fantasy football mock draft with you guys, with the Catch. Fam, we are hopping into a 12-team full PPR mock tonight. Let's see here. We've got one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, a tight end, two flex spots tonight, kicker, defense, 5 bench spots. So, I'm excited. We're going to hop into a mock tonight. That's what we do here. So, I actually need to send out the final warning on Discord. Let everyone know that we are starting because we're already a minute late. And, all right, let's do this thing. Okay, I'm at the 1.1. So I'm going to take JJ here. And let's get this thing underway. So if you guys are new to the channel, thank you for being here tonight. Be sure to subscribe on the way in so you can listen to me talk about fantasy football, join free mock drafts, and have another fantasy football dude in your algorithm. Whether you guys are new to the channel or not, hit that like button on the way in so more people see tonight's stream and come hang out, come talk fantasy with us. And most importantly, hop in the live chat. Let me know what's popping. Let me know how you guys are doing. Any fantasy football topics you guys want to go over tonight, redraft, dynasty, best ball, whatever it is, let me know. Any NFL topics you guys want to go over tonight, let me know. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk some fantasy football. Okay. A little bit more of a quiet day in comparison to yesterday, which was causing heart attacks for fantasy managers, NFL fans. But we do have an update on Joe Burrow from head coach Zach Taylor. Burrow will be sidelined for several weeks with a calf strain, So we kind of knew that was going to happen, but we don't really have a ton of information. This is going to be really vague for the next couple of weeks. So we still see Jamar Chase go at 1.2 tonight. I think that's still going to stay about the same, but there has been some speculation in the fantasy community, does Jamar Chase drop back maybe 1 or 2 spots? Outside of that, how much does this make Justin Jefferson the clear-cut 1.1 overall in comparison to Jamar Chase, which beforehand, it was still basically and overwhelmingly in support of going JJ at 1.1, but there was still an argument with Chase being tied to Burrow that, he could be the 1.1, right? I think this is going to probably for at least the next week or so, maybe until we get potentially some positive news, maybe push Jamar Chase to the 1.3-ish, but obviously with tonight's mock, he's still going at the 1.2, so I'm not going to read too much into it. I think most of us are going to prepare for Burrow to be on the field week 1, and we're not going to really know probably until the end of August, so that's probably the best thing to prepare for. But the Bengals are going to do everything they need to do to get Burrow ready for week 1, and they're certainly going to give him the rest he needs, right? It's a long season, so if he misses the first game or two, is it going to destroy the Bengals season? Probably not. Hopefully not. So, this situation definitely sucks, both from a fantasy football perspective, but also from just a real-life NFL perspective. The NFL is 100 times better with a healthy Joe Burrow. So, yeah, don't have a lot of information. We're just going to have to sit back and let this unfold. Kind of talked about that last night. The best thing we can do here is just let the situation be what it's going to be and be patient because we're going to need some time for this to really piece itself together. So there was kind of a nothing burger with Deontay Johnson walking off of the practice field today and then being carted off. We talked about this last night. We don't need to panic every time a player is carted off of the field, because for most of the practice fields compared to practice facilities, it is a long distance, right? So 99% of the time, the players are going to be carted off, right? But all it was with Deontay Johnson was it was related to heat exhaustion. So it is super, super, super hot. It's the hottest month ever in the history of the planet. So I'm not surprised we're having some of that pop up. But yeah, he's good to go. Nothing to worry about with Deontay Johnson. Okay, let me make... This is kind of a tough pick here. I mean, I'll go Breece Hall, but the next pick is kind of like, do I go Patrick Mahomes? If I go wide receiver here, I mean, I guess it's Metcalf. Do I go with another running back and Ramondre Stevenson? Kind of go double running back to start. If I go wide receiver, I don't know. I kind of like Calvin Ridley here as well. Do I just go Josh Jacobs? Let's go Ramondre. I mean, I usually don't go double running back like that, but let's see how it plays out tonight. Okay, so that's really everything. I mean, we've got more speculation about the Colts and Jonathan Taylor not being on this even close to the same page. So now we have potential rumors that Jonathan Taylor could be moving to another team. Don't quote me. Those are definitely strong rumors, so we'll see what plays out there. Hopefully the two sides get it done. I mean, I feel like Jonathan Taylor just is a Colt, so I don't know. I feel like even with the environment that running backs are in right now, it just feel weird to see Jonathan Taylor another jersey, but it could definitely happen. So outside of that, that's about everything for the day. Better than yesterday. I did hear that Jalen Ramsey's surgery was successful as well, so that's good. Sucks that we're going to lose Ramsey for a couple months, though. Okay, let's see who's at the live chat. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Hope everyone's doing great. And let's get into it. Albert, what's going on, man? Brandon, what's going on? How you guys doing? Taylor, what's up? What's up? Cats, hope you're doing fantastic. Matt, what's up, man? What's going on with JT? Yeah, I mean, you've just still got, you know, yeah, I mean, I put it in the, the poll tonight, 100% yes. Yeah, it's just super, I wouldn't even call it a rumor. It's just like speculation that, you know, the two sides could be too far apart. Like, you look at the kind of Twitter battle between Jonathan Taylor's agent and Jim Irsay. Like, it's just a weird situation. And then, you've got his agent saying, he doesn't know if the two sides are going to be able to come to an agreement. I don't know. It's just kind of a messy, weird situation. So, you know, it's Friday night. What else do we have to talk about other than making up rumors about Jonathan Taylor? So, all right, let's see. Emil, what's up? Matt, is it crazy to take Bijan at pick 4 in a 12-team redraft? Nope, not at all. No, I am completely okay with Bijan in the top 3 picks, honestly. I mean, if you're playing full PPR, I still have JJ and Chase there, but I don't mind Bijan at 1.3. I like Hill and I like Kupp basically just as much as I like JJ and Chase, so I don't mind them either. And full PPR, I don't know, you still have to give those guys heavy consideration, but all off season long, Bijan's been that guy for me, and that's going to continue to be the way I think. So, I'm completely fine with Bijan at 1.4. Yeah, you know, I mean, C-Mac is in that range too, but really, the first 6 players off the board tonight are the 6 players that I think should be taken first. I'm fine with Kelsey at 1.7. Saquon's interesting at 1.8. Chunk is always kind of, going out and getting his guys, going against ADP. I'm not against it. I still like Eckler very close to the 1.6. I actually probably like Eckler more than Kelsey there. So Diggs, Lamb, Brown is a fine way to wrap up the first. But Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra, both those guys can go in the first as well. It's just kind of hard to pass, when you look at Diggs, Lamb, and A.J. Brown, you're getting that solidification from a veteran wide receiver. Wilson, St. Brown, I would say St. Brown broke out last year, but you kind of have the upside that comes to the table with both of those guys. Then poor Devontae Adams gets pushed back because, Jimmy Garoppolo's his quarterback. So, and then Waddle, Devonta Smith, Olave. I love that tier wide receivers, but. All right. I don't know what that had to do with Bijan. I started reading the draft board. But yeah, Bijan at 1.4, of course, that's fine. Taylor Gang, what's up, bro? Matt, any update on Garrett Wilson's injury? I did not see any update. But, Robert Saleh was kind of downplaying things. Once again, we'll just have to kind of monitor things. I'm sure he's probably has been taking it easy since, and then we'll probably get a better update headed into next week. Would be my assumption. Dom, what's up, man? Emil, who are you taking first in PPR, CeeDee Lamb or A.J. Brown? I mean, that's a super tough question. Because I really have both those guys, like, as close as you can get, honestly. Like, I don't know if it gets much closer than those two players. Tough pick here. Tough pick. I mean, give me Ayuk. Some good wide receivers on the board, but I'm just going to draft my guys here. Give me Ayuk and Christian Kirk. I mean, Hopkins, McLaurin, Godwin, Pittman, Hollywood Brown, Mike Williams. A lot of good wide receivers right there. Tough to not go quarterback here with Joe Burrow and Justin Fields and even Herbert on the board, but I just feel like with taking those two running backs back to back at 2.12 and 3.1, have to go double wide receiver there. Being that this is a double flex format we're practicing for tonight, and I'll just go and draft my guys. Why not? Emil, yeah, just very close. I might like CeeDee Lamb a hair more at the moment because, CeeDee Lamb, your wide receiver 5 last year, A.J. Brown, your wide receiver 6. That's not really why, but I personally think that CeeDee Lamb has less competition for targets. I'm not as worried about Brandon Cooks or Michael Gallup. There are, 3 rookie tight ends or whatever. Tony Pollard's going to get his, but and don't get me wrong, I mean, like Gallup and Cooks are to get theirs too. But when I look at the Eagles' offense, like Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, DeAndre Swift, the run game in general, what Jalen Hurts brings to the table, just a much more efficient offense overall. Not that the Cowboys' offense is necessarily bad, but I don't know. I just feel like CeeDee Lamb probably in a little bit of a better position. But A.J. Brown is going to have a monster year. Like, I mean, I have no way against A.J. Brown. I think he's going to be top 10 easily this year, repeat close to what he did last year. I do think when we look at these Eagles wide receivers, these Eagles offensive players, it's probably natural for them to have a little bit of regression because last year was just ridiculous, right? But that doesn't mean I'm out on them. That doesn't mean I don't expect them to all be essentially top 10 guy. I mean, when you look at Hurts, Devonta Smith, and A.J. Brown, like I would not be surprised if all 3 of those guys are top 10 at their respective positions. And I mean, I'm pretty dang high on Devonta Smith. He was wide receiver 9 last year, so maybe top 12 between the 2 wide receivers is a little bit more fair. But I was super high on Devonta Smith last year, and I still am this year. And then I think Dallas Goedert, of course, can easily be a top 10 tight end. And call me crazy, but Swift has the upside if he can stay healthy to be a top 10 back this year as well. That one's probably a little bit more controversial, but I'm just saying it could happen. So, all right, 5th round wrapping up. Let's move into the 6th. Yeah, Emil, that's tough. Looks like tonight's poll is a bust. So let's roll with that poll instead. Who? Yeah. Drafted in redraft. Spelt redraft wrong. Okay. CeeDee Lamb or A.J. Brown. I mean, it's just incredibly close. Like I said, I probably go Lamb by just a smidge. Taylor Gang went with the Andrews and Lamar stack. I like it. All right, so Burrow falls out to the 6-4. Still gets taken before Herbert, but not before Fields. Yeah, like last night I accidentally auto-picked Joe Burrow, and I meant to not do that, but it happened. I was interested to see where he would fall, but I think, like, 6-4 is pretty fair given the circumstances. I mean, I think we're all going to just assume Burrow's going to be okay, but as we get closer to the end of August, we're going to need to try and come up with a solidified answer, right? Would it be crazy to start a 12-team PPR redraft with Amon-Ra, then Chubb, Pollard at the 1-8? No. I'm actually kind of surprised, Randy, that Amon-Ra in more drafts isn't going closer to that kind of like where Stephon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb went tonight. Like early mock drafts this offseason, there were points where I was taking Amon-Ra that early. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but no, I don't think there's anything wrong with that particular setup. Man, am I just going to be heavy running back tonight? I mean, give me Rachaad White all day long here. This next pick's tough. There's a player I really like, but I feel like I'm reaching for him. Two guys I like right here. Let's switch it up tonight. Let's go Alexander Madison. 3 wide receivers, 4 running backs. Ooh. Yeah, we're switching it up tonight. I mean, yeah, let's try out a different strat tonight. Let's see what I come up with. 3 wide receivers makes me a little nervous, but okay. Are we fading Burrow this much because of a calf strain? I mean, I would say yes, because I know it sounds crazy in comparison to like if he had a knee injury, then it would make total sense to fade him, right? But in comparison, I guess I'm saying is it sounds a little crazy. So, but the reality is, a calf strain is an injury that will linger and linger and linger. And I mean, all you can do is rest. It's not, to my understanding, like when you look at, Patrick Mahomes' ankle injury last year, like that's something that you can really, really, in terms of like, physical therapy and treatment and stuff, kind of get touched up. Obviously, because Mahomes was out there. It may be a little bit easier to cover up one way or another, if you know what I'm saying. But a calf strain is tough. From everything I've read, a calf strain is just tough. One wrong step and you're just back to square one. So I think that's more the concern overall. It doesn't sound as if it was a serious injury, then Burrow's just out for an extended period of time. A calf strain, while it's not as serious of an injury in terms of he can't play for sure, we need to do everything, he's gonna have to have surgery or whatever, it is still an injury that just has a high rate of re-injury, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's the reason why. I don't think it's anything like we're worried about Joe Burrow as a quarterback, we're worried about this offense when he's in there, anything like that. I think it's gets hit wrong, takes the wrong step, and we're back to square one, and then he's a big question mark. So I hate this because you guys know Joe Burrow is my favorite quarterback in the league, essentially. I own him in half of our dynasty leagues. So I mean, I've got T-Law, Herbert, and then 2 leagues with Burrow. So I'm just trying to take it day by day. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Randy, as far as Chubb or Pollard, who are you taking at 2-5 and full PPR? I don't think you can really go wrong there. I think the kind of safe pick is Nick Chubb. You might not get as high of a ceiling. I do think that offense is going to throw the ball a lot. I think the upside pick with maybe a little bit more risk coming off the injury is Tony Pollard, but I think I like that upside. I think I go Tony Pollard, but I don't have a problem if your answer is Nick Chubb at all. Not at all. What do you guys think in the chat? Nick Chubb or Tony Pollard? I don't think you can really go wrong there. So Flowers off the board at 8-4. I almost reached for Flowers and took him at 7.1. Talked about that last night. I'm going to have to figure out a way. I feel like if I want Zay Flowers, I'm just going to be like straight up reaching for him on a regular basis. So I just don't know how else, the way I've been drafting lately, how else I'm going to land him. But now I move into this tier wide receivers, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Goes Kadarius Toney. And I don't know who I'm going to pick. Not going running back. I mean, Brian Robinson here is a good value. Devon Shane, Jerick McKinnon. But, like, I feel okay about these 4 running backs. Like, I feel like I have to go, like, tight end or quarterback. I mean, give me Freiermuth. That's my guy. Just knock that out. And then before one of you guys takes him, I'm going to take Sky Moore at the 9-1. This is probably a reach, but like I think one of you guys will take him before I do. And like I said, you know, like if I wanted Zay Flowers and I felt like I had to reach for him, you know, right now if I was sitting with JJ Hall, Stevenson, Ayuk, Kirk, White, Flowers, Brian Robinson, Sky Moore, I wouldn't be upset. So I think that's just, you know, one of the things that happens at the 1-1, the 1-12 is you really have to make those decisions. Even the 1-2, 1-11, like, am I going to reach for this player or not? And there's my decision. Emil, not high on Rachaad White. That offensive line scares me a little. That's fair. You know, I'm not particularly high on Rachaad White because of you know, his rushing ability or even the rushing attack of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm high on him because Baker Mayfield last year checked the football down more than any other quarterback in the entire league. And Rachaad White had 50 receptions as a rookie with Leonard Fournette in front of him for majority of the beginning of the year. So I truly think Rachaad White could have like 90 receptions this year. Okay. That's why I like him. Full PPR. Okay. And that, you know, the defense was okay last year. Their secondary is not nearly as good as their run defense, but like, I don't even know. I don't know. I just feel like they're going to be in a position where they're going to be playing from behind. I feel like Rachaad White's going to benefit a lot. And it's like, if you can get Rachaad White as your RB3 or 4, that's where I love him. You know, if you do go hero running back, for example, I don't mind Rachaad White as an RB2. But, you know, probably wouldn't like love him as my RB1. But overall, throughout the offseason, I've been pretty high on Rachaad White, and I'll stick by that. Let's see. Boss man, I find it funny that 80% of people vote AJ Brown, but CeeDee Lamb is always getting taken first. Yeah. It's at 62% AJ Brown, 38% CeeDee Lamb. Cat, it's not like he has to learn the system or get chemistry with anyone. When he's healthy, he's ready to go. In terms of Burrow, yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't think anyone's worried about Burrow's ability as a quarterback. Like I said, I think it boils down to calf strain, high risk of re-injury. I mean, yeah, maybe just like Google calf strain re-injury. Calf strains have a nasty habit of becoming chronic injuries. Some medical professionals suspect that this is because calf strains create scar tissue or muscular adhesions, which can predispose the area to being injured again or prevent healing in the first place. Yeah, so it's not good. Wow, that's a really bright website. So yeah, and all you can do for it is muscle rest, stretching, icing, compression, elevation. So Burrow's going to be like sitting around probably pissed off he's not able to play. Emil says he's going Chubb. Cat's like Taylor Gang's team. Oh, well, To Ravens, why not? Matt, you don't think Trask could be the starter? I mean, he could be, but I think it's going to be Baker. "12 hours ago, Baker Mayfield with an edge in quarterback competition, according to Dan Grazzino of ESPN. I mean, I do think Baker will win it, but could that change at any point? Sure. But I think Baker will win it. Either way, it's obviously not like super exciting. But yeah, I mean, if it is, for Rachaad White's purposes, I do like Baker being out there more. All right, guys, don't forget. I mean, we've got like a couple rounds left here, but we did include kickers and defense tonight. So as you get to your last two selections, keep that in mind as well. A couple players that I kind of like coming up here. But I feel like I need to go back-to-back wide receivers. A couple guys I like, though. McKinnon's off the board, but I still like Tyler Algier right here. Going to be a run-heavy offense. Good handcuff. God forbid anything happens to Bijan Robinson. Greg Dulcich is sitting here if I want to take another tight end, but I'll probably be okay with Freiermuth. So give me Jacoby Myers. The Raiders are going to be playing from behind a ton. Myers a good wide receiver. Give me Romeo Doubs because he could truly be the wide receiver one for the Packers. In terms of like targets, PPR value. Watson is the guy we want, but I don't know. Dobbs and Jordan Love could truly have that chemistry to where he gets targeted enough. He puts up wide receiver one numbers. Watson's upside guy, though. Emil, someone said on another YouTube channel said Baker might win MVP this year. Let's go. Shout out to Baker. That's my guy. I mean, hey, anyone can win MVP, right? No. I mean, Geno was like kind of, I don't know. Like, no one would have expected Geno Smith to have the year he had last year. Probably not MVP level, but he did win Comeback Player of the Year, right? So, Baker could be in that category. Reverse, what's up, bro? How are you doing tonight? No, I'm not drafting a quarterback at all, Albert. I almost went quarterback with that last pick, but I think that puts my wide receivers at an okay spot. 6 wide receivers, 4 running backs, a tight end, then at least 1 quarterback, and then either a second quarterback or 1 quarterback and just the best available player to wrap up my draft, and then kicker defense, of course. So, yep. I kind of like this team tonight. A little bit of a different build, but I'll take it. The Alexander Madison pick, like usually for me, that's going to be Isaiah Pacheco right there, maybe even Cam Akers. But like I said, we're going to switch it up tonight. We'll go Madison. Kind of had a couple tough spots tonight. Like, actually, really every selection outside the 1-1, I was kind of like, I feel like I'm kind of reaching. Like, I almost went Calvin Ridley at the 3-1, but I had a feeling I would be able to get Kirk. So I'm glad that I didn't, as much as I like Ridley, but I just like the later value in Christian Kirk. So I very rarely am going like 2 running backs there at the, in the second round and the third, but with Higgins gone, Olave and Devonta Smith gone, pretty wide receiver heavy for the first part of this draft. So I would have been like either taking Ridley, which would have led me to draft probably Hollywood Brown at the 5.1, which is okay too, but I don't know, just kind of a weird draft, right? I'm happy with Rashad White at 6.12. But then the next pick was kind of rough, like Pacheco, Madison. Like I said, I thought about reaching for Zay Flowers, which I wouldn't have mind, the way things turn out if I did that. But then when I went Ayuk and Kirk, it's like, Godwin didn't go to 6.7, but McLaurin and Godwin and Hopkins were the highest rated players there. So but you got to go out and get your guys and trust your own conviction, not necessarily use ADP. So I don't know, just a little bit of a strange draft all over the place tonight. Reverse, I really want picks 1 through 4 to grab a wide receiver. Being pick 5 and the first 4 being receivers, I feel like I have to draft CMC, then I don't like my build. Yeah. Draft Bijan. Then you might like your team more. I'm just kidding. I mean, C-Mac's fine. There's nothing wrong with drafting CMC. I would just say, if you're looking at your draft and you prefer starting with a wide receiver early and you prefer a JJ Chase, Cup, Tyreek Hill caliber player, kind of those top 4 guys, and you don't get one of them and you have the 1.5 or the 1.6, then just go hero running back. You missed out on the very top tier and you don't want to reach for Diggs, Lamb, AJ Brown, St. Brown, Wilson, whoever. Just go hero running back. Take C-Mac, Bijan, Eckler, whoever, right? For me, it's Bijan. But then after that, like you did tonight, you take 3 wide receivers in a row. Devonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy, DJ Moore. Then he went quarterback. I mean, you basically have like an exact hero running back build. Good value quarterback, good value tight end. Heavy at wide receiver after your first running backs off the board, and then 4 late round running backs and Rashid Shaheed. Shaheed's a great value, by the way. So, yeah, I think you just roll with the hero running back method in that circumstance. All right, give me Danny Dimes. Give me Anthony Richardson. Now we're having some fun. I kind of like this team tonight. Albert, I'm surprised no one's taken Anthony Richardson yet. I didn't see that until after I picked him, I swear. Something about that top tier wide receiver than a top tier running back. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I don't really mind personally if I start with a wide receiver or running back, but it definitely shapes the rest of your draft. But, either way, right? If you don't get a top tier wide receiver in the first, then try to draft guys later on who you think could finish as a top tier wide receiver and vice versa. If you're not getting that top tier running back to start, you want to search for guys who could have a top 5, top 10 finish and be a top tier running back on the season. So, looking at your build, C-Mac, Pacheco, Gibson, Mitchell, and Miller, you kind of get 2 handcuffs, be valuable down the stretch in Mitchell and Miller. Gibson, probably in a committee, but Gibson has that receiving upside than Pacheco. I mean, I like Pacheco and Gibson where you got them. So they give a pretty decent draft overall. I mean, Smith, DJ Moore, guys who could finish easily in the top 12. And I think a lot of people would say Jeudy could also be in that range. And Pittman's a great value at 6'8". And then Rashid Shaheed's a great value at 12'8". So, I mean, I actually like your team tonight, man. Matt says great value on Danny Dimes. Someone's got to take the Dimester off the board. Tonight it's me. Taylor, only taking Kittle, plenty of streamable tight ends if he misses time. That's fine. Yeah, I know I usually say if you draft Kittle, if you draft Waller, go out and draft a second tight end. But if you just want to stream a guy, that's fine. The only thing that worries me is last year, it was tough streaming tight ends. It really was. You had like Greg Dulcich here and there, but he as soon as became a streaming option, became like a very volatile streaming option, and then I don't know, missed the last week of the year and everything fantasy wise. You had Hayden Hurst. He was also hurt a little bit. And I'm probably forgetting someone, but I feel like towards the end of the year, that's all you really had, unless I don't know, tight ends are always getting dropped, so there may have been someone floating around in your respective league. There were points last year in my home league where Pat Fryermuth was floating around, Dalton Schultz was floating around. You had Nkonkwo last year as well. So Jawan Johnson, probably another name you could throw in there. Maybe Taysom Hill at times, but most of those guys end up getting rostered, and like that was it. You had like Isaiah Likely, like when Mark Andrews was hurt or whatever, and he had that one good game. I think it was Thursday night at Tampa Bay, if not Monday night. So, but you have a better opportunity to stream tight ends the beginning of the season than as opposed to the middle end of the season. So you just got to lock up the right guys when you can. Opinion on the NFL Top 100 this year so far. I haven't really looked at it too much, to be honest with you. I've seen like on Instagram, like the NFL page has been posting updates on it. I don't really have like strong opinions on it because the players vote on it. So like, I don't really care. Like, I mean, the players are voting on it. So, I mean, every year there's like someone who gets snubbed or someone who's too far back, but it's just kind of a weird ranking system because I feel like some players vote on like who is, the best player. Like, is this player one of the best overall? Was this player one of the best last year? Was this player one of the best going into this season? And like I said, we need the players voting on it, so it's kind of like all over the place. But either way, I do enjoy, like, I don't know if I've had time to sit down and watch it like the last year or two, but if it is on like in the background, I do enjoy kind of watching. I mean, most of what NFL Films does, as long as it's relevant, and even some of the older stuff they've done is pretty good. So I do enjoy kind of watching it. But yeah, I don't have a strong opinion on it necessarily. Taylor says, I'd probably honestly stream kicker and take Laporta here instead, but for the sake of the stream, I'll take a kicker. I mean, hey, if that's what you do, I totally get it. Like, there are a lot of people who don't draft a kicker or don't draft a defense or don't draft both, especially if you're in a keeper league. Like in my keeper league, I don't draft a kicker or defense. I just like throw a dart at two rookies. Last year, for me, it was Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson, and that worked out. Those are my last two picks, and now I'm going to be able to have Watson as a 14th rounder or whatever. So I get it. And even in non-keeper leagues, a lot of people will just draft one additional skill player, not draft a kicker or not draft a defense, and then obviously pick one up, drop one player before the season starts. So. Sports Spotlight. I'm in a 10-man league, and I will be pick 5. Who should I take? It kind of depends. If it's full PPR, you can consider Tyreek Hill or Cooper Kupp if they're available. If they're not available, I'm personally taking Bijan Robinson, but you can, of course, consider Christian McCaffrey as well. Like I said, if it's my league, I'm probably taking Bijan. Yeah, even in full PPR, I'm probably still going Bijan at the 1.5 because I don't know, it's close. If Kupp or Hill are there and you prefer starting your draft with a wide receiver, that's fine. I like Bijan enough to have confidence and say that I would take Bijan, though. All right, team reviews. Let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. Kuda's in the house. What's up, bro? How are you doing tonight? All right. We've got Mahomes and Higbee. Good late round value on Higbee. Chad, how do you guys feel about Tyler Higbee? Because he's still kind of floating around as like the true late round tight end option. He's starting to create more buzz in the fantasy community, and I know a lot of you guys like him. But let's see here. Chubb, Dobbins, Cook. I like Cook in the 8th right now. I still like Dobbins in the 5th. Chubb's good up there, 2-3. Bigsby and Spears, 2 kind of handcuff guys. Nothing wrong with that in redraft. Diggs, Metcalf, Deontay, Mike Evans, Bateman, Gabe Davis. Pretty decent wide receiver room. Niners defense, of course, great. And Sanders is fine at kicker. So we're starting Mahomes and Higbee, Chubb and Dobbins. Diggs and Metcalf flexing Deontay Johnson and Mike Evans. But, I mean, you kind of have a couple other guys you can flex here in Cook, Bateman, and Davis. And Bigsby and Spears, I feel like you're kind of just letting them ride on the bench, and hopefully they come into kind of either committee values or just straight up handcuff values, which of course in redraft are going to be valuable. So nothing wrong with that. So pretty good team. I mean, nothing like crazy here, but definitely a good draft. And then heading into the season between waivers, trades, all of that, you'd be in a good position for sure. So I like it. All right, Nick at the 1-3. T-Law and Tua. Pitts and Schultz. Double quarterback, double tight end. Henry, Swift, Javonte, Gainwell running back. Hill, Ridley, Tony, Sutton, Mechie at receiver, the Jets defense, and Jake Elliott. So, I mean, I don't know. I get a little hesitant about going double quarterback and double tight end. Can set you up nicely for the beginning of the year, but I think as the year moves on, you're just going to end up making decisions to where you're going to want more wide receiver or running back depth, because just overall, between the flex spots, you're playing more running backs and more wide receivers. So I feel like with the quarterback of Trevor Lawrence's caliber, outside of your bye week, you don't really need a second quarterback. I mean, of course, barring any injury, but at the same time, Tua and T-Law is a nice combo. And Pitts and Schultz is a nice combo. I mean, Pitts coming off the injury has been inconsistent in fantasy, so I'm not totally against it. Tony, I don't know if I'm drafting right now, but I mean, the options kind of give or take with what was on the board, but I don't know. I feel like if Tony didn't get hurt and everything as a wide receiver 3, we'd really like that, but the reality is he did get hurt. So, all right, we're starting T-Law and Pitts, Henry and Swift, Hill and Ridley. I like that. It's a great starting lineup. Then in your 2 flex spots, Javonte, Tony, Sutton, Mechie, and Gainwell could both slide in there too, and technically Schultz, but probably not. So, I mean, your flex is kind of up in the air, but you have enough options here. Like, it's probably Sutton and Javonte, honestly. Jets defense I like. They bring some nice upside this year. Top 12 last year. Jake Elliott will probably have a better year this year than last year, but he wasn't a good fantasy kicker last year. He was a perfectly fine kicker. 5 for 5, 3 of 3, 3 of 3, 2 of 3, 2 of 2 looking at the points attempted. Field goals, only missed 1 through the first 6 weeks, for example. Perfectly fine kicker. But the Eagles just scored too many points for him to be completely fantasy relevant because he didn't need to kick any field goals. But he'll probably have positive regression this year because the Eagles as an offense should see some slight regression like we talked about tonight. So anyways, like I said, flex spot kind of up in the air, but you have kind of, a roster here of 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends that you can make some moves. So I do like the starting lineup a lot, though. T-Law, Pitts, Henry, Swift, Hill, Ridley. Looks pretty solid. All right, Cats. What's up, Perk, Cousins? Burrow and Goff. I mean, yeah, right now, I don't think it's a bad idea to take a player like Goff behind Burrow. Waller, my spiel. Maybe consider a second tight end with the injury history, but you're good there. Eckler, ETN, I like that. Pierre Ryan, Roschon Johnson, Zeke. Kind of good late round values here. What's going to happen with Zeke? Anyways, we did get some buzz that Roschon Johnson was taking first team snaps. We'll see what happens. So I think I also read there were points where Herbert and Donta Foreman were doing the same, so I don't know. Okay, Adams, Debo, Mike Williams, Zay Flowers, Mike Thomas, Van Jefferson. I like these wide receivers. I'm not really a fan of Mike Thomas still, but I feel like with this specific wide receiver room, I don't really mind them. All right, so we're starting Burrow. He's going to be okay. Waller, Eckler and ETN, Adams and Debo, flexing Mike Williams, flexing Zay Flowers. So Mike Thomas, Pierre Ryan, Roschon, Zeke, Jefferson on the bench, Goff on the bench. No kicker, that's fine. You figure it out before week 1. And the Cowboys defense. Pretty solid team. I like it. Sports spotlight. I'm guessing the first 3 will go JJ, then Jamar, then CMC. Yeah. It's close with those two wide receivers in Hill and Cup if they're there, but I personally like Bijan. Taylor at the 111. Rodgers and Kyler, I like that. I think Rodgers will be better than he was last year. Maybe we'll get back to this range, but maybe top 10. Kyler, I really like. Behind a quarterback like Rodgers or Goff, Cousins, Geno, whoever. Kittle, that's fine. You know my spiel on Kittle and Waller. Jones, Pierce, Jamal, Herbert. Not the strongest running back room. But you had two viable starters in Jones and Pierce. Jamal and Herbert are fine where he took them. And, like, I feel like Jones was the right pick at 4-2. Pierce is fine at 5'11". Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Lamb, St. Brown, Cooper, Johnston, Burks, Rondell Moore, good wide receivers. Eagles defense, Graham Gano. So you're starting Rodgers and Kittle. Maybe Kyler moves past Rodgers as the season goes on. Jones and Pierce, Lamb and St. Brown, flexing Cooper. Probably flexing Burks, but QJ could get in there. Rondell Moore could get in there. Maybe even Jamal Williams or Herbert. So pretty solid team. Definitely a good team to go into the year with between waivers and trades and all that. So I'm good with it. Taylor Gang, what's up, dude? The 1-6. Lamar Action Jackson and Captain, you like that Kirk Cousins. That's fine. Andrews at tight end, you're good there. Bijan and JT, I mean, you know, if everything gets worked out with JT and pup list, angry at the Colts, I don't know, everything gets worked out. Bijan and JT is a very nice start. Penny and Harris, like, yeah, obviously those two guys not as strong, but they're fine values where he took them. And, like, if you have Bijan and JT, I don't know how much you really need to worry. Barring any injuries, right? Brown, Godwin, Addison, Moore, Collins, Mims. Like, wide receivers, obviously your weakest link here because you went double running back, quarterback, tight end in the first 4 rounds, but you could get by. I still like the values on Brown, Godwin, Addison, and Moore. Daniel Carlson, a good pick for you. Kicker won the last 2 years. Steelers defense, fine. So you're starting Lamar and Andrews, Bijan and JT, Hollywood and Godwin. You're probably flexing Addison and Elijah Moore. But Penny, Harris, and even Collins and Mims could get in the mix as well. So I'm good at this team. How do you feel about it? Taylor says Higbee is slept on, especially with the healthy Stafford. Cats love Higbee next year. Expect to bounce back from Rams offense and Stafford. Someone's got to catch passes. Hence why I take Van Jefferson every time. I like Jefferson as a late round pick. Brendan at the 1-7. What's up, Brendan? All right, we got Herbie fully loaded at quarterback, Kelsey at tight end, Jacobs and Mixon, Cook and Robinson, most start. I mean, pretty good value on running backs here if Jacobs plays. Waddle, Hopkins, Pickens, Lazard, Mingo, Boyd. Bills defense, and Brandon McManus. Yeah, you're definitely led by Waddle here, but Hopkins could end up being pretty valuable to this team. Like, I think this team kind of revolves around how good Hopkins is this year. So you're starting Herbert and Kelsey. Hopefully Jacobs and Mixon. I mean, that's kind of the thing. Like, we're expecting like a drop from Mixon. Jacobs a question mark. Cook hasn't been signed. So you have some question marks about running backs here. But let's say you're starting Herbert, Jacobs, Mixon, Kelsey, Waddle, and Hopkins. You've got a good starting lineup for sure. Then in those 2 flex spots, Cook, Pickens, Brian Robinson, Lazard, even Mingo and Boyd and Mostert could all be options. So you just kind of have to figure it out as the season goes on. I would guess that probably Cook and Pickens are who you have starting the season. Maybe Brian Robinson over one of those guys. But, yeah, looks fine to me, man. The double flex really makes things interesting. When are we going to hear on Kamar's suspension? I mean, Lord only knows. Are we even ever going to hear? I don't even know. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine, unfortunately. Unfortunately. All right, let's roast my team, guys. Danny Dimes and Anthony Richardson at quarterback. Let's go. I mean, I could have gone Kirk Cousins or Goff over Jones, but yeah, I don't mind the idea of getting Anthony Richardson behind Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers, Danny Dimes, Cousins, any of those guys. I do think Richardson is going to have some flashes this year. I don't ultimately think he's going to be incredibly consistent. I believe more in Anthony Richardson like next year or the year after. Kind of similar to like Justin Fields or Jalen Hurts' progression, but hey, it's fun to take him here and there. Freiermuth, I think, as consistent as he can get at tight end in the 8th round. Hall, Stevenson, White, Madison, I like that backfield. JJ, Ayuk, Kirk, Sky Moore, Jacoby Myers, Romeo Dobbs. I mean, all things considered, like I said, when I was at the 2-12-3-1, I felt like I was reaching on wide receivers. I usually drafted a receiver there, but Smith, Olave, Higgins gone. I'm okay. Really the way I look at this is JJ's my wide receiver 1, Kirk's my wide receiver 2, Ayuk's in the flex. Then I'm probably flexing Rashad White, starting Hall and Stevenson, starting Freiermuth, starting Daniel Jones. So that leaves Sky Moore, Madison, Myers, Dobbs, and Anthony Richardson on the bench. I think that's a pretty good bench, and I like the Patriots defense, and Jason Myers is my defense and kicker. So I like this team. A little bit different of a build, but I'm okay with it. Chase, what's up, bro? I saw that some people are not a fan of Brees at the value. I get that. I mean, he is probably going to be more successful next year as compared to this year. I still think he's going to have those moments of upside, but he is a risky selection. And especially if Dalvin Cook goes to the Jets, it's just going to really complicate things. But for now, I'll take the upside. I don't mind Jahmyr Gibbs actually right here, like paired with Ramondre Stevenson. I don't mind Najee Harris. Jacobs, if you didn't have the question mark, be perfect there. ETN's fine, honestly, as well. But, yeah, I understand why people are off of Brees for sure. Matt and PPR, who are you taking, Gibson or Brian Robinson? Antonio Gibson for sure. He's going to be the receiving back there, so absolutely. Brian Robinson might be a little bit of a better value, but I'll go Gibson. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for the night. Do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button on the way out if you guys haven't done so already. Helps out the stream and all that good stuff. If you guys are new to the channel, thank you for hanging out tonight. Thank you for being here. Be sure to check out the links down below. Follow us on Instagram. Join our free Discord. And be sure to subscribe. And that'll do it, guys. You guys have a great start to your weekend. Everyone be safe. She'll be back on tomorrow night. And I'm glad I got to mock draft with you guys and talk some fantasy for the night. So appreciate you guys, man. Cat says, feels like whoever you take at the 2 to 3 turn is a reach. Worst spot to draft, in my opinion. Yeah. If Devonta Smith falls out or T. Higgins or Olave are there, I'm not upset. And then you just take your RB1. If those two guys aren't there, it gets a little murky. So I might agree with you. All right, guys. I will be on tomorrow probably, so I'll talk to you guys then. If you guys need anything, hit me up on Discord or Instagram. And that'll do it for the night. So thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for talking fantasy. And let's go ahead and wrap it up. I got to work tomorrow. It's late. So appreciate you guys, man. Have a great Friday night. Have a great start to your weekend. I feel like I've started this outro like 4 times and just said the same thing. So love you guys, man. Love this community. Love the Catch fam. I'll talk to you guys soon. And with that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, yes, saw it here on the Catch. And